A European budget that tightens the belt but still expands on efforts to boost jobs and innovation and to deal with the migrant crisis. New legislation aimed at boosting security to promote development in countries struggling to build or rebuild, and modifying a system to deal with insolvency to better ensure the banking system against another crisis. We begin with the battle over the 2018 budget and the deal between the European Parliament and the Council to maintain key funding items. Parliament put its stamp of approval on a €160 billion budget for next year that keeps funding for research, innovation, infrastructure and SMEs. It also provides urgently needed funding for justice and home affairs as European authorities manage the migrant crisis. The EPP Group's Siegfried Mureschan authored the report on the budget.
Since the beginning of the budget negotiation, I have said that growth and jobs has to be our first priority and the safety, the security of our citizens our second priority.
Targeting Europe's young people, Parliament secured €350 million for the Youth Employment Initiative, plus an extra €34 million for the young farmers of Europe. And SMEs will also get more support.
We have an additional €105 million for small and medium-sized enterprises, for innovation research and for Erasmus students. This is exactly what makes Europe more future-oriented, more competitive.
And there's €12 million set aside to grant Interrail tickets for young Europeans turning 18, an EPP Group initiative.
To get to know other countries, to practice their foreign languages, to make first steps in terms of international experience.
Next, it's commonly said that you can't have development without security and vice versa. Parliament approved a measure to help train and equip forces guarding development efforts in Africa and beyond, to stabilize countries struggling to recover and rebuild. Starting with a budget of €100 million, the program aims to provide training and non-lethal equipment to countries like Mali, the Central African Republic, or Somalia, and other fragile countries in real need. The author of the measure approved by Parliament is the EPP's Group's Arnaud Danjean, whose military service included the siege of Sarajevo. He says the Commission proposal is merely the first stage of more ambitious European capacity building for partner countries.
Je rappellerai qu'il s'agit là du chaînon manquant des instruments de l'Union européenne en matière de sécurité et de développement. Nous parlons de pays dans lesquels aucun développement n'est possible sans l'assistance des forces armées.
The EU already supports police and justice authorities, but this expands the effort to the military when it serves a development goal. Equipment can include communications hardware, life support and field amenities, medical supplies and transport. Finally, Parliament approved legislation that brings more certainty to the financial markets. It creates EU-wide guidelines on how to handle insolvency proceedings on unsecured debts without burdening the taxpayer. It's another step towards banking union as an important reform after the 2008 financial crisis. The turmoil has caused EU member states to reform their laws on insolvency, leaving a patchwork of rules across the EU. This legislation is to bring all those national laws into line. Gunnar Hökmark of the EPP Group is the author.
It's the same rules in Spain as in Germany or in Sweden. So there is not only legal certainty as such, but it's the same legal certainty, and that's good for a capital union and a functioning financial market. So it's good for customers, it's good for investors, it's good for you and me.
The bottom line is, it's the shareholders and investors who must shoulder the burden and take the haircut on insolvent debt, not the taxpayer. To do that, the legislation creates a new asset class of non-preferred senior debt with a bank creditor hierarchy, the order in which creditors get their money back. Find out more about the largest force in Parliament by checking eppgroup.eu. Thanks for watching.